Live.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
It'd be too convenient. All right, here we go. Oh, turn this on.
Well, I don't know what this thing is. I think it's a strip show, dance show.
Work there, dude.
Welcome to
DeaconLive.
DeaconLive.
Welcome back, guys. On today's show, Deacon versus the Box Store Round 2. And we talked to Dan from the latest podcast that's out there, Is This Going Somewhere? You can follow them as well on iTunes and all those platforms. And let's start that over a little bit. You want to start it over? Yeah, I'll start it over. Yeah, we start over. Welcome back, guys. On today's show, I versus the Box Store Round 2. And we have live calls from that as well. And we also talked to Dan from the latest podcast, newest podcast out there called Is It Going Somewhere? Welcome back, guys. On today's show, is that a monkey tail on your face? And we talked to Dan from the latest podcast, Is This Going Somewhere? Also, me versus the Box Store, Round 2, and the return of everyone's favorite thing, This Week in Pickles. All this and much, much more will be discussed here on Deacon Live. How are you? How are things? How are things going? I know I took some time off. I had to help a friend of mine move out of his place. I guess his lease was up after 4 years and stuff. His lease was up, so I had to go help him move and bring his stuff back down to Florida. I know I'm being silly here, but yes, we took a week off. It was my birthday, so my wife surprised me, and we just kind of did some stuff around here and went out, out to eat every night and kind of hung out and took advantage of the COVID-19. Everyone getting the vaccination, and hopefully some of the people that we ran into and talked to had the vaccination. You don't ask them that. It's like asking someone, are you pregnant? Are you fertile? Do you have STDs? I guess in some form you can ask that, but for the most part, like, do you have your inoculations? Hey, we don't mind hanging out with you. You want some inoculations? But yeah, last week was 2 weeks ago was my birthday. Actually, the day that the whole coup happened on the House Capitol Senate. And yeah, take all the advantage or take all the attention away from me. It's about me. It's my birthday. And they decided to attack the Capitol building on that day. So that's what happened. And I know everyone's so saturated with all the political news and the political this, and everyone's going to be this and that. So I said, you know what? Let's just take a whole week off. Let's regroup. Let's gather our belongings. Let's take a deep breath. And something we haven't done in a long time is arms above our head. Breathe in and stretch. And then come back down and say, you know what? It's 2021. We have a new president in the White House. We had the first ever female and a female of color in the White House. Now, we don't get too political here. We don't get too, I don't want to say controversial, because we'll get controversial about stupid shit. But no religion, no politics. But for the most part, hey, a woman of color is in the White House, vice president. And she's doing that. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to everyone. No hard feelings. And do me a favor, everyone. They say let's do unity. Let's try, for at least a couple years until something else happens. But let's try to be unified together. I actually went to the store the other day, and it's one of those things where, I noticed that when Barack Obama was president, everyone was a little bit nicer to the white folk for some reason, if that makes sense. But I went to the store the other day, and that someone said, oh, here you go, sir. And like, I don't know what I'm getting at, but someone said something to me, a black man, a man of color, said something to me. And I was just kind of like, you would never talk to me in the first place. Anyway, so that's what happened to me today. Now, one thing my wife and I have been doing is, I told you about my wife and what she does. She, rolls out of bed, she's working. She's right at her desk. She's working all day long. And then the sun goes down and, she eats dinner, and then she's laying in bed. She gets about an hour and a half of TV time, from 9:30 to 10:30, and then she's out, and then turns around and does it again. And it's kind of like there's a disconnection between me and her, just for like social purposes, like talking to her. I enjoy getting up and making her breakfast every morning, and now that she's on the Whole30, breakfast is a little bit simpler now. Before we would have, sausage and coffee and eggs and a biscuit or English muffin, a nice, good, healthy starting breakfast. And then I'd ask her, can I make you lunch? Can I make you, can I make you a chicken sandwich? Can I make you a ham sandwich? Can I do something? Yeah, sure. Make me this. Maybe. Now that she's on the Whole30, that time, because she started at the beginning of the year, I'm doing the Whole30. Me, I'm doing like the Whole10. I'll eat what she's eating, but I still have to have. I'm a big guy. I'm a meat potato guy. So that's that. I try to help her. I don't go out and get her anything really crazy as far as food and stuff. So we stick to the Whole30, and she and I said to her, this is a while back, because this has been going on for a while. And I said, you know what, babe? I said, I miss sitting down and talking to you. I mean, I miss our conversations, me and you, back and forth. Whether, not that we argue, we debate a lot of stuff. And she brings up something, and I always, just my personal, I have my own beliefs, but I'm like, well, let me look at it on the other side. And I always bring up a weird topic or a weird idea that, why would you do it that way? Why would you do it this way? And just trying to feel out all around it. And I miss those conversations that we have with her. Sometimes she gets mad at me. Like the other day, she's like, I was doing something. She's like, you know what? You're not an idiot, but God, you're dumb sometimes. And I was like, oh man, well, because I couldn't figure something out. Oh, we were doing the Ring camera. We have a new Ring camera here on our property. And I was trying to figure it out. And I was like going, you know what? I don't want to start digging around at this. If I start digging around, I'm going to mess something up, and then it's ruined. And I gave it to her, and a couple days later, we sat down and we were messing with it, and she kind of went click, 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 bing, bing, bing. And I go, well, what was that? She's like, oh, it's just a piece of paper. I go, that's not supposed to be there. And that's when she said, I'm not saying you're an idiot, babe, but sometimes you are dumb. And I was like, all right, well, I'll take that. I'll take it. But we've been playing cards. We've been sitting down and playing, 52 cards, the face bicycle cards. We've been playing cards. And we've been playing like rummy, and a two-handed rummy or a two-person rummy is fun to play. And she's so competitive. She's so competitive. You got to pick that up. And if you pick that up, you've got to play it. And we've been playing two-person euchre. Most of my family's from the Northeast and New York area. And so euchre was always a big game that we'd play. And so I introduced it to my wife many years ago. We'd sit around and play with 4 people, but we figured out how to play it with 2 people. And so there's that challenge and stuff. And so we have a good time, and we sit there and we talk, and we're both competitive, but that's what we've been doing. Like on the weekends, instead of running, nonstop from Friday when she gets off work, working on the French and getting the tack room done and texturing the ceilings and painting the walls and retexturing the ceilings and fixing the lines and cracks and the tape lines and painting and cutting and moving lights around and running electric here, and then fixing the pen and pushing the horses out and fixing the fence post that came down, and then figuring out how we're going to do the cabinets and redoing the electrical boxes and recessed lighting and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden it's Sunday at 6:00 and you're looking at each other going, what are we having for dinner? And then the cycle starts with her working again. So we've had a great time. We usually cut everything off when the sun goes down. She bought me a new grill for my birthday. So we've been cooking like steaks out there. We've been cooking, it's just nice, enjoying each other. I said to her, and she said she understood and made it a point, saying, you know what, I'm going to make a more conscious effort to hang out with you and talk with you and spend a little bit more time on the weekends, which is very, very few hours in between when she gets off work and then has to start work again, which is great. I didn't ask her to do it. I just kind of said, I kind of miss these times. So she's making that conscious effort. So the least I can do, or the most I can do, is me and her just share our time together. We've been married for now, I think coming up on 7 years now. And so, it's not like we're an old couple that's been married for 30 years. We're still somewhat of a newlywed couple. So she appreciates it. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everything she does. And I hope she, reciprocates that as well. So my weighted blanket here, speaking of reciprocating, she bought me a weighted blanket, and you guys have heard that I couldn't figure out how to use a weighted blanket. Now, I'll tell you what, I have slept so much better using a weighted blanket. Now, for those of you out there that don't know what a weighted blanket is, it is a pleated, I guess pleated is the word. It's a blanket, like a throw blanket, like when in the summertime, I'm sorry, not summertime, the wintertime, when you throw to cover up your legs and your feet and stuff when you're sitting on the couch watching TV. It's that size. So what is that, like 50 by 60 or something like that? And a weighted blanket has kind of like crushed up glass. And when you say crushed up glass, oh my God, that's sharp and stuff. No, DE powder is the same way. That's what DE powder is. It's a very, very fine talc or sand in the blanket, and it's stitched in squares, and each square has a certain amount of this powder or grit in it, and it makes the blanket heavy. It's a weighted blanket, and it helps with anxiety. It helps with falling asleep because it gives you that hugging, that pressure that you're kind of locked in. When you're in the womb, that's I said it before, the swaddling. So I figured out if I just put it from my waist down to my feet, I'm good. I could sit there and, lift my legs up. Now, it's 15 pounds. Now, 15 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot over a large area. So I pick my legs up and flip them around, when you roll over to the left and roll over. I only roll over now maybe 3 times a night. Normally, it's, on my left and then on my right, and then on my left and on my right. Now, that's nothing to deal with the purple mattress that we have, because the purple mattress is an awesome mattress. It's just that I've got little problems and quirks with my body after falling off a ladder and such. So and from turning to the left and turning to the right. So one thing that I hate is the corner of the fitted sheet. Always, every night, around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, pops up. Bink! Pops up off the corner of the mattress. And then you don't want to get out of bed. No, it's cold outside. It's cold in the room sometimes. You're snuggled underneath the sheet, so you have to kind of do that. You have to bounce yourself up and then pull the sheet and then land. And then try to get it back over that lip. So you kind of, do this whole bounce and jerk and bounce and get the thing back over the edge. And then you can go back to sleep. That fitted sheet, since I've got the new weighted blanket, because I don't toss and turn to my left, to my right, to my left, to my right as much, like I said, maybe 3 times a night, as to probably if I go to a sleep lab, it's probably 100 times each way. That sheet has not, and it's the same sheets we've always had, the fitted sheets, that sheet has not come off that corner one time. And I'll tell you what, I have slept so much sounder, so much deeper with that fitted blanket or the weighted blanket just around my lower extremity. It's long enough to go from my waist, my waist navel area down to, now I'm 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", depending on what 7-Eleven I'm walking out of. And you put the blanket down and the blanket just barely hangs off. I say barely. It hangs off about a foot off of the end of the bed. And then I have to flip it up with my legs to get it to, you guys have done this before. Get that little pocket that the sheet gets up underneath your feet, and then you lay down, or you put your feet back down, and then you turn over on your side. So now you're in this upward down scissor motion. And so you take your leg and lift it up, and then you drop it. And you take your leg and lift it up, and then you drop it. And then you move over to the other side and take your leg. I have worked out, I couldn't figure it out the other day. I was walking around. I'm like, God, is there something wrong with me? My groin area? She's like, what's wrong? I go, first it was my ankles were hurting. And then I was like, my groin area, your groin is, if you're looking at your legs where it meets your torso and you do that V with your hand, like, the, hey, baby, come get this. That little area right there was bothering the shit out of me. And I twist and I was like, that hurts. I'm like, what the hell have I done? I thought it was just residual stuff from me falling off the ladder. Then I figured it out. It's from my legs. God, I'm out of shape. It's from my legs opening and closing and moving them around underneath that weighted blanket. It's like working out in the middle of the night. So that weighted blanket is doing me good as far as sleeping soundly. I'm also getting a workout at the same time. And then I wake up the next morning and my legs are sore and I don't realize it until, you start working around. You turn a certain way, you twist a certain way. So it's like 3 things in one. It helps me sleep well. It doesn't remove the fitted sheet that always pops off the corner of my side of the bed because she doesn't move. And I'm also getting a workout lifting that fitted sheet up over and over, moving your legs up and down because I can't stand my feet touching each other. There has to be material in between it. All right, when we come back, we'll dive into the show here and hopefully get Dan here on the line. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all our social accounts, and the way you do that is go to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on the social contact section, and when you do that, it opens up a big old screen there, and it shows all the icons of where we're located and where you can find us outside of where you're listening to us at. Make sure you subscribe to all those things as well. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel, and the way you do that is go to Deacon. Make sure you go to Prophet Radio, click on the Deacon Live section, and you can see all the videos for every podcast that we do. Has a video attached to it as well. So make sure you add us to your subscription. We don't do a whole lot of stuff. I say we don't do a whole lot. Every week we do a podcast, and then we have a video that goes to it. And that's all the subscription is. You just get to see the video and the stuff we do here in the studio live in real time as we're talking about. And you get to see all the behind-the-scenes stuff where I make mistakes and stuff, and I leave them all the errors in there during the podcast. So some of them are kind of funny. So if you want to get a little bit more details on that, go to Prophet Radio and then click on the Deacon Live section. Also, we'll be talking to Dan from a new podcast that's out there called Is This Going Somewhere? And we'll dive into his story here in a little bit. Now, my story, it never ends. I'm a little background on myself as far as retail outlets. I spent 20 years at Home Depot. Started as a paint mixer in the paint center right out of high school. Was doing that, and then worked my way through the ranks. Was full-time, then part-time, and then full-time, and then part-time. But in some form or fashion, over 20 years, I've always had my foot in the door at Home Depot. Now, when I finished everything, and I say finished everything, finished all my, not screwing around, but I was on the radio for a long time. I'm not going to get in that story. But over the last several years of my 20-year tenure at Home Depot, I worked my way up through the ranks, department manager, and then department manager, and then assistant manager, and then all that stuff that happens with that. And after 20 years, I said, you know what, I'm done. I've worked at 5 different stores. I said, I'm done. But I know the ins and outs. I know how things are. I know that there's a format, when you're dealing with customers. And when I say I know that, Home Depot spends a lot of time sending upper management, if not middle management, even the little guy at the return desk, sending them through training on what to do, what to look for, how to do things, how to approach things, and it's always what they call PK, product knowledge. So we go to PK classes all the time. Did you know this? This is what we do. And it's like a college. It's like when you go to, I think McDonald's has it too. It's McDonald's University. And they teach you the ins and outs of how to be a business owner, because that's essentially what you are. You're a small business owner if you're a manager of a McDonald's. And Home Depot's almost the same exact way. They don't call it, Home Depot University, but you do go to all these different classes and all these different sessions and conventions and everything that's provided for you, and you literally sit there. It's not a game. It's not a I'm off work for 3 days. I'm going to go play out in Dallas. I'm going to go play in California. No, you're sitting there. You're there to learn. So the knowledge of everyone at Home Depot is, I think, in a very, very high standard compared to other stores that I've had to deal with. Now, I tell you that to tell you this. As you guys know, or if you don't know, we have 20-some-odd acres here on the French. Now, the French, we've called it the French because it's part farm, part ranch. We have horses, chickens, dogs, cats, cattle, all that stuff. And then we also farm a crop. We have corn. We have, depending on what season it is, we have corn. We have tomatoes. We have, what do we do? Field peas, all that stuff. And it is we have an agricultural license, and that's what we do here. So we have a barn, and the barn we have a well, so the well feeds the house, and the subsidiary well, pressure tank, feeds the barn. So we have cold water down at the barn. Now, here we have natural gas or propane. That's the only choices we have to heat water. The house is on a big, huge 280-gallon tank of propane. Down at the barn, we have a little 20-gallon, what you have up underneath your grill. And we bought a hot water tank from Home Depot because I'm like, if anything goes wrong with it, in my mind, we can return it. We can, deal with that. At one point in my career, at 20 years at Home Depot, I said to someone, if Home Depot ever opened up an automotive section, with mechanics and stuff, that would be the number one automotive section or mechanic section in the whatever that Home Depot is being found at, because people trust the Home Depot name so much. With that being said, I got the hot water and it worked fine. We wired it up, and not wired it up because it's nothing really to a hot water tank. You have a line going in for water, have a line going out for the hot water, cold going in, hot coming out, a propane valve, hooks up to just like your grill, looks exactly the same. You hook it up to the tank, and then inside are like 2D batteries that shows the display for the temperature, and then almost the equivalent of your igniter on your grill. As long as you get the propane, the gas burning, it'll run all day long until you run out of propane. So it worked for a while, and then it went out. So my wife went out there and kind of looked at it. She's like, yeah, there's nothing going on. I said, you know what? All right. And I went out there and looked at it. I'm like, oh, we got this thing mounted and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I talked to a couple people, and they said, well, you bought it online, call the 1-800 number, Home Depot. All right, I called them, and I got this girl smacking her gum. She was helpful. She was very helpful. She did a lot for me. She was very understanding. I actually called the company that I bought the hot water. I bought it from Home Depot, but the warranty is covered underneath the company that owns the hot water tank, which is Murray, Mareuy, or something like that. I'll mess that up here in a little bit. So I called him. Hey, any problems with Murray, make sure you contact us. So I called him, 1-800. I'm sorry. All our customer representatives are busy. All right, fine, no problem. I'm sorry. All right. Please hold. Leave a callback number. Beep. And then it hangs up. So I did this several times. Finally, it said, if you have problems with a warranty, contact us at murray.customerservice. So I sent off an email. Went by. Now, I bought the hot water tank in February this past year in 2020. Now I'm getting into the thing is not working anymore. There's no display. There's no hot water. I don't hear the thing clicking on. So I'm like, I'm getting worried. So I called the 1-800 number finally. 1-800 Home Depot. Hey, help me. Hey, this is Madeline. How can I help you? I got a Home Depot a product that I bought from you guys online. Do you have the order number? Sure. You have the thing? Sure. And this is all recorded, and I'll play all the clips and stuff so you can verify that I'm telling you the truth. Long story short, well, you can listen to the comments or listen to the recordings and stuff. And I'll play those here. The guy got rude with me. He got so rude I say, in my mind, he probably said, no. And then I was like, God, he's so rude. Why is he mean? Why is he rude to me? But he started to get a little bit of an attitude because he was asking me to do something that I was not prepared to do. Now, he doesn't know that I fell off a 10-foot ladder. He doesn't know that I'm having problems moving around and lifting my legs because of my heavy blanket, my weighted blanket. I can't get up and down a ladder. He doesn't know that. I didn't want to tell him that. But the stuff that he was asking me to do was outside of my actual control as far as what I was prepared to do. And I got to the point where I was like going, look, man, I said either send a tech rep out here to look at this thing or I'm going to send it back. In my mind, that's what I said. That's not listening to the thing. That's not what came out. But I mean, that's what happened. And we'll play some of those, the clips, actual phone conversations here during the breaks. All right. When we come back, I'm still waiting to contact Dan here. But, the wintertime, I have facial hair. I'm waiting to contact Dan here. So when we come back, hopefully we'll get him on the line. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you go to Prophet Radio, PROPHET radio.com. If you want to be part of the show, you can be part of the show at any time. Click on the little blue bar that's floating around. It says Be Heard. Click on that. Opens up a little microphone. You can talk right into that. You can talk about anything we've ever discussed here on this podcast or any podcast in the past. We will play them. Comes right to our inbox and we'll play them. And you can be part of the show. You can be part of the entertainment that is Deacon Live. Broadcast, I think we're over 47 countries. And for some reason, only 38 states in the United States, which is weird because some of the states, I don't know if they're out there. But the major states, the major 38 states, not those other guys we don't care about. A lot of corn out here, a lot of potatoes. Now, everyone's made their New Year's resolution, and everyone says, what do you do? Here at Deacon Live, we make New Year's predictions, but a lot of people out there say New Year's prediction or New Year's resolutions. And one of the things that people say, I'm going to lose weight this year. Okay, sure. You're going to lose weight this year? Great. A lot of people, it takes a life-changing experience for them to actually stick to that, I'm going to lose weight this year. And the one thing that I've noticed, it's a trend, is that the person that says, I'm going to lose weight this year, usually comes out of a divorce or a relationship that they just, freshly gotten out of. I'm going to change. I'm going to get slim and thin so I can find me another mate. But that's usually the way it is. Married couples, unless they're, they'll say, we'll try to do this better. We'll try to eat better. We'll try to spend more time together. That type stuff. I was talking to my wife over breakfast the other day, this new thing that's coming out, which, 20 years ago was not even heard of or not even looked at. But now everyone makes up things. Everyone's a made up holiday. Everything's a made up thing. But this whole dry January, I said, you know what? Dry January? What is that? Well, that's when you don't drink anymore for a month. Really? What happened to New Year's resolution? I'm not going to drink this year. I think the whole entire United States said, you know what? We can all agree that we're not going to quit drinking, turn a switch on or off. I'm not going to quit drinking. Now, I know a lot of people say I quit smoking. I quit smoking cold turkey. My wife did. She smoked when I met her, and the only time she smoked is, of course, when you're driving, the regular, the non-social smokers, when you're driving, or if you're having a beverage or two. When I say a beverage, an alcoholic beverage. She quit, but not that it didn't bother me, not that she was always repetitive, as soon as hey babe, pick me up a pack of Marlboros on the way home. Nope, never had that. She probably bought a pack of cigarettes and that would last her a month and a half, maybe a month and a half, if not 2 months. And they go stale, they go bad. You got to throw them in the freezer, right? Isn't that what you do? So when you do the whole dry December or dry January, which in my opinion, it just sounds like you've given up already. I'm only going to not drink for 30 days. Well, first of all, look at it this way. You have New Year's Eve, which of course this year is not as extravagant as years past just because of the pandemic and stuff. Second of all, because of the pandemic and everything, New Year's Eve is not the jumping stone or the party night that it used to be, because we've already been drinking every day since March of 2020, and they've said that people are drinking more in this year. Well, duh. So the whole, I'm not going to drink anymore for the rest of the year. Oh, we'll get back to that person here in a minute. It doesn't have the effect of a New Year's resolution. So everyone kind of agrees, I'm just going to cut back this month. That's what they're saying. I've been, hitting it hard all year long. If not this year, last year, January, I'm just going to not cold turkey. I'm just going to stop, dry myself out for 30 days, 31 days, depending on what day you figure that, the alcohol has left your system since New Year's Eve. And then I'm going to go into February, a clean and sober, better person. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, by all means, see you later. I'm right back to the bar, which is good because a lot of people out there need to get back into the bars and need to start, schmoozing this money around. The bars need it. The families need it that own the bars. Yes, there are people and faces with homes behind those doors that you're walking through at no matter what establishment you're going to. Now, Budweiser itself. So what do? Budweiser themselves said, well, I always have there's a thing that I have or that I say about, hold on, let me pause this. That I don't understand why people drink non-alcoholic beer or non-alcoholic whatever. Like if you're getting a Shirley Temple is what? Sprite, some grenadine, and a cherry, right? No, that's just cherry Sprite. It's not a, fake, make it fancy. Some people order an Eskimo float. Now, if you don't know what an Eskimo float is, it's basically a glass of water. It's water with a bunch of ice cubes in it. It's an Eskimo float. See what I'm saying? So everyone's ashamed of not drinking alcoholic beverages. Budweiser right now, if you're watching this on the video, Budweiser right now has a Bud Zero. Everything's zero now. It's not alcohol free. It's not sugar free. It's not this. It's always zero. I guess because there's a stigma with being diet. There's a stigma between being sugar free. There's a stigma with it being whatever. So everything is zero, 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 zero. Full flavor, zero alcohol brew. 100%. Sorry, 0% alcohol. 100% your game. Now, they did come out with I think Miller High Life came out with the select, no, was it? No, I think Budweiser did. Came out with the Select 55, and it's only 55 calories, but it's only like 2.9% alcohol. I don't want to get really fucked up. I just want to get a little buzz, which I can understand that. And then I don't know if that took off as much as I think Miller High Life had the same thing. It was a 55 calorie or something stupid like that. Oh, it's only 35 calories? I'll drink this, and then you drink like 2 cases. You're like going, I feel so fat and stuff. Yeah, because you had to drink twice the stuff to get the buzz. Budweiser now has a Budweiser Zero. Hold on, I got it. Budweiser Zero is an alcohol-free brew with the same full flavor and taste that you know and love. Budweiser Zero, there is zero compromise for the flavor and experience. All with only 50 calories, 0 grams of sugar. Click now to one all. So there's still 50 calories in this Bud Zero. But like I said, I don't understand why people drink non-alcoholic beer. And the joke that I said many years ago is it's like buying non-hallucinogenic heroin just because you like sticking needles in your arm. No, you drink beer because you want to drink beer. I know you want the taste and the buzz and stuff. I mean, all the beer snobs and everything might have a different story about that. Oh, you're not getting the full hops and the grains of the what is it, the made with purified goat's milk or something? Or you need like a dark beer or something. I forget what the new Beam and Highball or whatever. But this Budweiser Zero has 50 calories. I think the Miller Lite that I have has 4.2% alcohol and only 96 calories, hence the lift, So, you're still drinking 50 calories, whether it's zero or not. So, if you're doing the whole dry January, I know we're 3 weeks into it. What do you do for a substitute beverage? Now, for everyone that lives in the Central Florida area, for any length of time, is familiar with this song right here. And when you heard that as a little kid, you knew that shit was ready to go down. And when I say it's going down, that's the Polar Cup. Now, if you haven't had Polar Cup, now granted, I know we're in the wintertime here in the upper states, but the lower states, especially Florida, Polar Cup is, I mean, it still gets warm in Florida. Polar Cup is back. For location and route info, we are currently in the process of creating routes and securing specific locations to park the van in order for everyone to find us much easier. We will post information. Make sure you follow us on Polar Cup Orlando on Facebook page. Now, when I say Polar Cup Orlando, Polar Cup is basically that's all they did. They didn't do. You had the ice cream truck that had all the ice creams and stuff. You had the one guy who would go around with like Italian ice, but he also had like ice creams and stuff. Polar Cup was just Polar Cup, and Polar Cup was just shaved ice with flavored toppings, but it was a different shaved ice. It was almost like an Italian ice, and for those out there who know what a Slurpee is, from anyone who's got a 7-Eleven, but they brought it to you. I mean, they drove around. It's like one of the first, inventions of a food truck type thing. Polar Cup is out there with several different flavors, the original lemon lime, watermelon, all that stuff. So for more information, go to Facebook and click on Polar Cup Orlando. But they're coming. They're back up and running. I remember as a little kid, I lived at the end of the street going into a not major highway, but the main vein that went through the neighborhood. You'd hear the Polar Cup, and you'd hear that song playing, and you're like, here he comes. Ma, throw out, just like Eddie Murphy, Ma, throw out some money. It was $1, and you were cool if you got the big 32 ounce and the big styrofoam cup. You were the cool one, and that was $1.50. But yeah, Polar Cup's back in business in Central Florida, so all those out there, make sure you hop on that train. Now, another drink out there, when you're doing your whole dry January or whatever month you pick dry at, is these new coffee creamers that are out there. My wife loves the coffee creamers. She does black coffee and one of these Whole30 coffee creamers that it's like I don't know, $5 for the whole thing, and it's only like 8 ounces or something like that, because it's got no artificial sweeteners, no artificial this, no artificial that. It's just straight whatever it is. I don't know, whatever makes it Whole30. But Post Brand Cereals has teamed up with International Delight, creating 2 new coffee flavored creamers, or coffee creamers for your coffee. The first one is Fruity Pebbles. Oh God. And the second one is Cocoa Pebbles. So Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles can be, and they're forming it as like an iced coffee. Here's the new Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles International Delight Coffee Creamers. Their official release date was yesterday, and this is posted on January 13th of this year. But the creamers started popping up on shelves a little bit before that. We still haven't found them in the store. Thank you, International Delight PR Group. Please send samples. And this is what they said. Fruity Pebbles flavor is the star here. The creamer is on its own, an exact flavor of the Fruity Pebbles cereal. The phenomenon, furthermore, the flavor shines through the coffee. Now, my wife can't stand it when I do cereal and then I drink the milk at the end. She's like, oh, that's horrible. No, that's what you want. You put the cereal in the milk to get the flavor, and then you flavor the milk. And I think someone out there geniusly came across cereal flavored milk. I don't know if that went anywhere. But there you go. So if you're doing your dry January, you got Bud Zero, you've got your Polar Cup if you live in the Central Florida area, or you've got your International Delight Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles for your coffee to wake you up in the morning. All right, when we come back, I was able to get a hold of Dan. We'll play a little snippet of that and then get into more of the show. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. That last segment you heard from Dan from Is This Going Somewhere? It's a new podcast that's out there. So look for them wherever you download podcasts. That's Is This Going Somewhere with Dan and actually myself as well. So make sure you follow them as well. So I came across an audition page that has a whole bunch of people, has a company that opens their doors up for open auditions. So I applied for Blacklist. Now, if you're not familiar with Blacklist, it's got Jane Spader in there. It's got one girl. I can't stand her face sometimes. They give her a different haircut all the time. But I applied for Blacklist. It's, I think, 9 spelled out and then 9.com. It might be a gimmick. It might be something, where they just get my name and address and they go, okay, pay us $50 and we'll put you on the set. So I don't know. Let's look at the article here. And right there, content isn't available. So maybe I didn't apply. Maybe they took all my money. Not that I paid for anything, but maybe, you know what? Maybe, no, I'm not even going to go to it. So obviously it was a stolen thing. It was a, let's see if I can find it. 999. I think I got jinxed. I think I got hijinxed. Anyway, so maybe they'll contact me, or maybe my bank account will be 0. So we'll figure out what happens there. Actually, I take that back. My wife got a text message saying that your official application has gone through for your interview, and she's like, "What did you do?" I'm like, "Well, I thought I signed up for Blacklist." I said, don't click on that link. Did you give him my phone number? No. Don't click on that link. I thought it was something from because I have a small voiceover agent, and I thought that was the thing that they were sending me. So never mind. Cancel that. Don't click on it, please. Don't click on it, babe. Now, something that I have as a small child. It's a small little deacon running around. The first time when I was in high school, let's put it this way. So when I was in high school, at the age of 15, I had almost a full beard. Now, it's not like the teenage beards that you see today where it's scruffy like around the cheekbones. No, it was a full beard. And because of that, I got cast in a lot of older roles, playing the father, playing the uncle, playing the the creepy neighbor. But I had a full beard. I was able to grow a full beard. So from 15 to whatever, my mom says, when should he start shaving? Asking my dad, when did you start shaving? My dad's like, well, about his age, 15 in high school, started shaving. So I started shaving, and then when you're 15, 16, 17, what do? You shave to imitate what life is at that time. And then I was just copying my dad or copying whatever, either shave it all off or create a beard. And depending on what story, what production I was in, either full beard, fully grown out, hairy, or nicely trimmed, good guy look, that type of stuff. And then when you get older, of course, like in the early 90s, the grunge era started coming out. So everyone had to have these, goatees with the little mustache and whatever. And now everything, it's just completely spun out of control. There was armies pre-World War I that, depending on what your rank was, you actually had to trim your mustache and beard this way. During the Middle Ages, a proper beard displayed a knight's braveness and honor. The Catholic clergy, on the other hand, were always clean-shaven as a symbol of their celibacy and clearly to signal the opposite of what the great knight stood for. In the 18th and 19th century, French troops had very specific types of facial hair for different roles. Their elite troops, known as grenadiers or grenadiers, depending on what side of the country you're from, always wore a manicured mustache. The infantry, the chasseurs, wore mustache and goatees. The grenadiers, with an M, were in fact mandated to keep their mustache until 1933. During the First World War, French troops were known by the nickname as poilu, which meant the hairy one, in reference to everyone had a different type of beard or facial hair. So when you see the old movies, depending on your facial hair in the older movies, especially if they're talking about the British Army or the French Army, was depending on your rank. Now today, of course, we've gone to trimming everything up and making everything groom. We know that statistics have shown that women are helpless against primal urges that the beard brings forth to them. Surviving surveys have demonstrated that full bearded men appear older and more respective, more powerful, and a higher status of non-bearded men. Now, there's a reason why men actually grew beards back in the early caveman. If you believe in caveman, it protected their lips, their nose and their mouth. Also kept them warm. And if they ever got into a fight, the beards themselves would help from a punch. Now, since the caveman days, and then during the World War I, beards stood for something. Today, they just stand for who you are and what era you can relate to, or what looks good on your face. Some people have got a big head, a big beard doesn't look good on them. So now it's all for fashion. And when I say all for fashion, if you're watching this on the video here, make sure I got the right screen up so everyone can see it and we can all be friends. Even Elvis had a signature mutton chop type thing that was iconic for him. Now, this is from the Sad and Useless website. Monkey tail beards are the latest male fashion trend. It's a fashion trend. You understand what I'm saying? It's not for any kind of protection or anything like that. It's not easy to be fashionable as a man in these days, in an age where everything changes so fast. Regular, boring beards is no longer enough. Remember the time, even 15 years, everyone's like manicuring the beards and putting, fish oil and skin sails, and they're making beards and they're making these big long beards, and everyone's got this beard mentality. And then everyone found out that shit stays in beard, like when you poop and stuff, and all these, you got more bacteria in your beard than you do anywhere else. Well, now everyone's gone clean shaven. Regular beards are boring, is no longer enough. Now you have to grow a full monkey tail beard to keep up with the times. Now, when I say a monkey tail beard, this is what happens. Imagine a full beard, all right? When I say a full beard, if you got a jawline, you've got the beard that comes from your right ear, comes down just underneath your chin like a goatee would, and then it would come up to your left ear, right? That's a beard. And then you've got around you have the mustache. Yes, I'm doing you guys can watch me do this at the same time as I'm watching the video here. And then you've got your mustache. And your mustache, depending on if you're a man or not, your mustache will connect to that lower bottom beard. So now you've got a nice jawline beard and a mustache that connects to your jawline beard. A monkey tail is, get ready for this, it comes down just like your jawline beard, comes up underneath your chin, and then follows around underneath your nose, and then stops. The left side of your face has absolutely no hair. No hair. And the right side of your face, where your mustache would normally connect to your beard, is gone. So it looks like this ring tail. So it goes from your ear, just underneath your jaw, underneath your nose, and then stops. It's a ring monkey tail beard. And there's a lot. I got pictures of all these people that have it. Here's a guy from the athletes. Here's a douchebag. Here's another douchebag. Here's a douchebag who dyed it different colors. So monkey tail beards, if you see it out there and people are like going, what the hell is that? It looks like a monkey tail. It comes down from your ear, underneath your chin, and then wraps around your nose, and then stops. It doesn't connect on the other side. Monkey tail beards are the way to go, I guess. If you want to be fashionable and stuff, if you do that in my neighborhood and I see you, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to go, you look ridiculous. I know. What's next? I don't know. There's a lot of things that could happen with a beard. Facial hair can do a lot of different and many things. When we come back, something that always has infatuated me of what they can squeeze out of this one fruit, vegetable, however you want to look at it. And it's This Week in Pickles coming up next. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all our social networks, and the way you do that is go to Prophet Radio, PROPHET radio.com, and click on the social contacts, and you can see all the links that connect us to you and you to us, and we'd like to hear from you as well. And the way you do that is click on the Be Heard section, or the Be Heard bar, opens up a microphone, you speak right into it, leaves a voicemail straight to our inbox, ask us anything, say anything that you want, and we'll play it on the very next podcast as well. So my wife and I, we're doing the whole 30 thing, and we were making a sandwich, just a regular sandwich. What were we making? I forget what we were making. I was making a chicken sandwich just for myself. She made in the Instapot rosemary, salt, and then shredded a whole bunch, like a pulled pork, but like with pulled chicken, because she can have that as long as you don't add any salt, or not salt, but any kind of outside sweeteners or barbecue seasonings or anything like that. Nothing with salt or artificial sweeteners. So she had rosemary, salt, pepper, and that's it. So she shredded it all up, and I was going to say, you know what? This looks good. I'm going to make a chicken sandwich. So I take the shredded chicken, put it in a pan, kind of crisp the chicken up a little bit. And as I'm doing that, I'm looking in the fridge. And I'm like, babe, do I have any more pickle chips? She's like, yeah, you got a whole jar in there. And I look, and I know exactly what jar she's talking about. It's the little small jar with the little pickle chips, the waffle flavored cut or waffle cut pickles in it, and I used them all. But I didn't throw the jar away. You know why? Because I like to have a sip of that pickle juice. I like drinking and I'm like, are you talking about this jar here? And she's looking at me going, yeah. Oh, there's no pickles in it. There's like a heel or something in there. And I go, take the lid off, and I take a big old swig out of it and then put it back. She's like, oh my God, that's disgusting. I'm like going, but I like that. And it's good for you. Especially a couple things. If you long, strenuous workouts, it eliminates cramping. It replenishes your body. It's got sodium. It's got all the stuff that you need. What do you think's in Gatorade? Gatorade is just basically orange flavored pickle juice for the most part, especially if you're hungover. If you drink that, it replenishes all your fluids and stuff, your electrolytes. And especially if you're just hungry and you don't want to eat anything, you just take a sip of the pickle juice and you're like, hey, I'm not hungry anymore. Kind of the same thing. Well, I found that there's people that draw the line. Pickles yes or pickles no. So I created this segment called This Week in Pickles. Now, it's been a while since the pickle community has stepped up and created new things and new ideas for pickles. We've gone from anything with cotton candy wrapped up in pickles. Pickles wrapped up in cotton candy. They've done pickled sandwiches where they take the bread away and they use huge pickle slices for the bread. If you're in that whole keto thing, this company right here, and the way you see this, go to prophetradio.com, click on the Deacon Live section, and then for every video that we do, for every podcast that we do, has a video attached as well. Pickle de gallo salsa is the perfect for all pickle lovers. Sorry, there's a bird right underneath the thing here. There he is. Now he's gone. Pickle aficionados have come up with many creations of their favorite food outside of the jar, turning some of them into unexpected and yummy products. It turns out that the condiment that's out right now, called Pickle de Gallo, is a play on names, but is also a great product to use for those that love pickles. Grillos, my Spanish is not as good as it used to be. Grillos, Grillo, apostrophe S, Pico de Gallo is not just a fun play on on the traditional name, but transforms this unusual pico de gallo recipe into something beyond just an ordinary simple dip. According to the manufacturer, the pico de gallo is a classic dill recipe with fresh bell peppers. I don't know. You know me and bell peppers. And onions in the mix. In fact, there are only 7 ingredients listed on the condiments. Cucumbers, brine, which is water, distilled white vinegar, and salt, yellow onion, red bell pepper, and garlic. Only 5 calories per 2 tablespoons of serving. It's a healthy alternative to other dips. You might get drunk. You might dunk on your... You can see where my brain's at. You might dunk your chips or pita bread into this at a party or on game day. So it's good for you if you're on the Whole30 and you're trying to, no calorie, no carbs or whatever, but there is no reason to limit yourself to just chips and dips alone. Grillos recommends using the condiment as a way to give other favorite foods a major flavor punch. The company recently shared a photo of its pico de gallo dressing on a hot dog that looks pretty darn tasty. I'm sorry. I know all you guys in Chicago want to do the devil dogs and all those other dogs. Hot dog is chili, cheese, mustard, maybe ketchup, depending on what day it is. And then that's it for me. But maybe all you guys up north might want this pico de gallo on your hot dog. In addition, working well with whatever you usually add this delicious relish to, we couldn't think of a better topping of pizza. All right, then we've gone too far. They're putting this thing on here. But if you want to try it, it's Grillos, and I'll say it again, GRILLO''S. They're fresh pickle de gallo. It's a pickle-based salsa, thick and chunky is what it says. And we wouldn't be any more pickly. I know a lot of people out there are doing the whole dry January, made-up holiday type thing. There is actually a wicked pickle. When I say wicked, WHICKED pickled. A spicy flavored pickle whiskey. Now, my wife, for whatever reason, my wife, she drinks, she might have a cranberry and vodka. She might have a Malibu and this, or a hard seltzer this, the White Claw. She might do the Mick Ultra. Me, I know my grounds. I know my limits. I know my grounds. I know what I like. I like Miller Lite, and that's what I stick to. If I get outside of that, I don't know how my body's going to react to it. I've learned my lesson many times, experimenting with many different things. Now, my wife likes the new peanut butter whiskey. She likes it, and I agree. I like it too. Unfortunately, I can't sit there and, I want to have a drink and then, do something, and then have a drink and do something. The peanut butter whiskey is a nice, soft, sipping whiskey. Now, this right here is Pick a Pack of Pickled Whiskey for flavor, has a bold and yet an unexpected taste. The Wicked Pickled is our take on a classic pickleback shot, mixed to perfection. It's all in one bottle. The Wicked Pickle brings the heat that you didn't know you were missing. This pickly, peppery shot is wicked good. So this is a pickled whiskey, wicked, like from Boston, like from Dan. The Wicked Pickle is one-of-a-kind, spicy pickle flavored whiskey that is so unique we had to create the original word defining it, and it's wicked. WHICKED. So Wicked Pickle cocktails you can do with your Wicked Pickle whiskey, which is very hard to say when you have a dry mouth. You can use it in your Bloody Mary, which I would see that would be good. You could do one stiff pickle, you could do a pickle in a pint, and all these other different things. So there you go. I mean, for this week in pickles, you've got Wicked Pico de Gallo and a wicked... You got pickled... it's a tongue twister. I'm getting spun around here. So it's a pickled pack of pickled peppers. You got your pickled de gallo and your wicked pickled whiskey. And that's this week in pickles. All right, guys. I'm going to let you guys get back to what you got to do. We appreciate all your phone calls, all your stuff. or your emails. And we also have some free swag for you. If you want some free swag, go to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on the social contact section, and from there you can get some free swag. Just fill out some form. We'll send you some stickers here from the podcast and from the radio broadcast. On behalf of you guys hanging out with us, we'd like to thank each and every one of you. My name is Deacon saying good night, and good night.
Wait, come back.
This is the end. The absolute end.
Écoute-moi.
Thanks, guys. Take care.